Dr. Jennifer Baggerly, and I am a professor here and chair of the Counseling and Human Services Department. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and guess what? I teach counseling adolescents. I have a question for you. How many of you were kind of wild as an adolescent? Raise your hand. Kind of.
Define wild. Yeah.
Okay? So let me rephrase. Yes, that's smart. Smart. Guard your secrets. How many of you, when you were adolescent, got yourself into a dangerous situation? Raise your hand. Okay, so I think, some of us are having problems with honesty. That's okay. Again, my name is Dr. Baggerly. This is one of my wonderful students, Teresa Espino. Espino. She is a counseling adolescent student of mine, and she works at UNT Dallas in student affairs. So the reason I came up with this idea is really out of my own experience as a teenager. And I remember telling my mom I was going out to a sporting event, one of these that this young man over here arranged, right? Actually, what I did is I went to a party, maybe arranged by this young lady. In the party, when I was about 16, there was a lot of drinking and a lot of other things going on. And the person who was supposed to drive me home was not in a condition to drive me home. I couldn't call my mom because she had told me time and time again, don't hang out with those particular friends, which is why I had to lie, saying I was going to be with my sports team. So I was there in a situation. Family friends had told me before, even my youth pastor, if you ever get in a situation, you need help, call me. I couldn't call them because I was way too embarrassed about the beverages I had drank myself. And of course, I was a very good A student, by the way, of course. But I was in a situation where I needed help, and I couldn't get help. I now have a daughter who's 9 years old. In about 3 or 4 years, she's going to be in a similar situation where she will be doing things that she's told me she won't do, and she's going to get herself in a situation, and I want her to be protected and to have some safe person to go to. So I developed this concept, guarding adolescents privately, and the concept is to be a human services product or service where we have trusted human service professionals who have cleared a background check, who will go and either rescue an adolescent who is in a dangerous situation or escort an adolescent where they know that they're going to go to a party or an event that will be dangerous. So, and when I mean dangerous, you know all this stuff. Drinking, drugs, sex, etc., etc. So, the idea is to have parents prepay for GAP insurance. So GAP is an acronym standing for Guarding Adolescents Privately. This parent will prepay this insurance to our agency, and then the adolescent can privately either schedule an escort to wait for them while they're at the event, because you know they're going. Okay, you've given them the lectures. No, you can't go to that party. Fine, can I go spend the night with the church folks? Sure, you can do that. Guess where your kid is? They're at the party. Okay, how many? Still no admissions. Okay, that's right. So they can either schedule an escort for somebody who's going to be there, or they can make an emergency call to say, come get me and take me home. And Teresa will explain this part.
Okay, so as you can see at the very top, adolescence equals risky behavior. Why do you think that is?
Because they don't understand
repercussions?
Yeah, part of not understanding repercussions comes with the fact that from the ages of 11 to about 18 or so, that's your adolescent years, you're operating in the limbic system, which is in charge of your emotions. And so, as you may remember from your own personal experiences, or maybe some of you have adolescents now in your home, we're so emotionally driven and we're not able to make abstract decisions and make really good informed decisions about the choices that we're making. And so therefore adolescents end up making these decisions about drinking, driving too fast, things like that. So therefore we make mistakes and we take some really risky behaviors or some really risky choices. And so part of that also is adolescents are also just too afraid or embarrassed to ask their friends, or particularly their family, for help if they are caught in a risky situation. Maybe they are at a party and they've realized, I've had too much to drink, I don't have anybody to take me home. They're not going to call their parents. And I mean, if you remember from your own experiences, or just, you're not going to call your parents, you're not going to, maybe you're the friend that you came there with, they're probably already in a situation where they can't drive you home either. So taxis don't provide or will not be able to provide services for teenagers, especially under the age of 18, from what we're able to understand, without a parent consent. So again, that goes back into not wanting to call home, being too embarrassed, and being embarrassed to say, Mom, I made a mistake, I'm not where I said I was going to be, and I need you to send me a cab. So, I mean, honestly, kids are not going to do that. So adolescents will need a safe professional to guard them while they're at this event. So they maybe going to a party, the guardian is kind of outside, just checking in on them temporarily, making sure, are you ready to go home? Are you doing okay? Or if they're already in a situation, all they have to do is call and say, I need you to come get me out. And that gives them a ride home. No questions asked. The biggest primary factor for me, especially, is that as you may remember from being adolescent, we don't like to be lectured. We don't like to be told, I told you so, or this is what I said, blah, blah, blah. And so that's the biggest factor right there. And so we'll also provide emotional support. Some examples. So John is invited by some college students to a frat party. He tells his parents he's going to a church meeting. During the party, he gets drunk. With GAP, he can call for a rescue ride home. Skip down a couple ones. Juanita goes on to a camping trip with her new boyfriend, but tells her parents she's going to a slumber party with soccer team. Her boyfriend wants to drive her around while she is high on drugs. With GAP, she can call for a rescue ride home. So again, you don't have to admit anything, because obviously we're not doing that. Just to think of what you did as an adolescent that your parents still don't know about, and we're not going to tell. So just to make you think about that.
So currently, as far as the market analysis, there are no identifiable services such as GAP in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So there are no known competitors. However, there are plenty of adolescent counselors in treatment facilities. So what we're suggesting is that we want to provide a service where people know that their adolescent is going to get in trouble or prevent some difficulties occurring. Our target market are families in upper middle class areas. That's where we would start, who have an income of $100,000 or higher. And the marketing strategy is to provide flyers and to advertise in magazines where middle school and high school kids attend, advertising to the counselors, to the teachers in those areas. So we would be sending emails, developing a website for this. As far as place and operating strategy, first, again, we'd be providing services in areas such as Highland Park, Plano, and the GAP employees will be human services professionals from UNT Dallas with a clear background check, a mobile phone, and a functioning car. And the professionals will be on call, and so they will drive to the location where the adolescent needs help whenever a call is received. The GAP insurance, as far as what it provides, there's a range of prepaid options. So you can buy the basic plan of $125, which provides an adolescent up to 3-hour escort or 2 rescues. So again, the adolescent would know that their parent has bought this service, and whenever they need it, they call and say, okay, come get me, or please escort me. Or you can buy an advanced plan in case you have a risky adolescent who likes to party a lot. Or you can buy the ultimate plan, which is $150 per month. And so again, when you think about this, if you're a parent, you will pay almost anything to keep your child safe, just like you pay for ADT insurance. As far as finances, the upfront cost really is just a phone number, some developing the website, and then we would keep the money in a savings account and pay the employees when they are dispatched. So,
if the parents are paying for the gap insurance, then how do you guarantee that you won't disclose the activity to the parent?
yes, so that's why it's prepaid. And so, like, for example, with your adolescent, we would have you pay $125, and that guarantees that your adolescent can call for either one escort or 2 rescues. And I didn't have time to go through the slide, but basically, when the account is low or whatever, like nowadays they have you pay lunch money online, at least in my school district. When your account is low, you get a notice, you get an email that says your account's low, and we will not say when or where we rescued the student or the adolescent. But the parent will then know, okay, I need to put more money in my account. So that's that basic plan. But if they want the ultimate plan with absolute privacy, then they would pay $125 a month, similar to how some of you may be paying ADT for home security. You pay it, and if nobody robs you, then you go hooray. But if you get a call out, then you're glad too that they were there.
Do you guarantee a time frame of when the first response will occur, when the rescue will occur? And how do you make sure you have enough responders in that area? Like, how about maybe piggyback off of what Uber's done with pre-vetted drivers and responders that can log on, maybe?
Right. Yeah, we could do that, but the plan was if for every like 10 buys, I would have one human service professional like this ready to go. And see, I've already, at UNT Dallas, we've already vetted a lot of our employees because we have master's level counselors and teachers who have already had their background checks done. And so I have a lot of people who are, see, she's not out partying on the weekends, she's at home writing her papers. So when I call her and say, hey, we need a rescue, then she would be able to go. She would.
What if all 10 people at that same time need the same rights or at the same party?
Okay, so then, which is,
Success can happen. I mean,
so it could, hopefully they're all at the same party, so that would be easier. But I would have people lined up, I'd have, my adolescent counseling class right now has 20 people in it, right? So let's say I said, if you're ready, if you would like to be an employee, you get $50 for rescue. So I'm paying them $50, and so I probably would have people lined up who are ready, and so when they get a dispatch, just like kind of like a towing company, it's the next person there. As far as the other part of safety, though, part of it is we discussed that if a child or adolescent is drunk or there's been some type of sexual assault, unfortunately, we would take them to, we call 911 or take them to the emergency room. At that point, we, of course, would call the parents. But as you know, recently there was a adolescent who was got drunk at a frat party. The frat, well, it may be, anyway, the people at the party didn't call because they didn't want the parents to know, and the kid died. And so this is the preventative thing, so that you would have somebody who would be there, and with the people that we have in our Human Services Management Leadership Program and our counseling program, we have basically 100 counseling students.
So hypothetically, if you've ever been drunk, how would you know that you need to call somebody? Because,
well,
if you get to that level of that kid that you...
Yes, and so that's why it's good to know with a prepaid, you have a prepaid just like you would with your car keys. You say to a friend, hey, my parents paid already, so if I get to a point where I can't function, call this number.
Okay, thank you very, very much.